Hey everybody, this is Roth. Welcome back. This is the second video in our Blender modeling of Batman. The last video we did, the first video, we set up our reference images. You can see here we've got our front view and our side view, which in this case is a right view. So if I press 1 on the number pad, there's my front view. And if I press 3 on the number pad, there's my right view. So we have those to help guide us as we model the Dark Knight. Now, when you use planes, image planes, instead of the built-in background images that you see here, specifically because what I found lacking with these background images is if you left your particular view, let's say this is my front view, and I had a background image set to my front view, it would disappear as soon as I rotated away from it. When I use planes like this, the images remain visible even though you're not directly looking at it anymore. So this is why I prefer this method for my reference images. Now I just want to double check a few settings on our reference images before we actually start modeling. So I'm going to select my front image. You can select either. Let's go over to its object settings, which looks like a cube over here in this pane. Make sure that X-ray is checked on for both of them. And you can see that they are checked on for both of mine. And then come over here to the Materials tab, and we're actually going to make this transparent. So turn on transparency by checking this, and then turn down the alpha to 0.5. So it's only halfway visible. You'll be able to see through it. So what the X-ray does is it will place the image in front of, even if an object is technically in front of it, it won't be blocking the image. We'll still be able to see our reference image in front of it. But to fix the fact that it might block that actual object, we turn down the transparency so we can see through it. And you'll see what this does here in a second. So I'm going to switch to my front view and get ready to add our first object. So we need to be mindful of where our 3D cursor is at any point, because when we add an object, it's going to show up right wherever this 3D cursor is. So I'm actually going to position the cursor right over Batman's chest, and to make sure that it's in the middle, that it's centered along the x-axis, I'm going to come over here to this menu, which is the N key to bring it up if you don't have it showing. Look for the 3D cursor section, and for its location, I'm going to change the X to zero that out, so that way I know for sure it's in the very center, right along this blue line. Now I'm going to Shift A and add a cube, and you can see that I can see my reference image still through this cube, even though the cube is technically in front of the image. And that's just really handy because I don't have to switch back and forth between a wireframe view. So here we are back in my front view. I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode for this cube. And the first thing I'm going to do is Control R to add an edge loop. I'm going to add it right here. And I'm going to just press Escape to let it go right in the center. So what I've done is I've split the cube in half. And I'm going to go to box select mode. And here's something to watch out for. If I do press B for my box select and I select these vertices here, it's only going to select the vertices that are in front, that are visible to me basically. And if I rotate it around, you can see that it's only selected the front two and not the back two, which is what I was needing. So what I have to do is, let's go back to my front view. I need to turn this on right here. Limit selection to visible. Let's turn that setting off. So now whenever I do the box select or the circle select with C, it's going to select everything behind that front vertex as well. So make sure this is turned off. Now if I do B for box select, I can select these vertices over here on the left, and you can see that it's got the whole side here selected now. I can press X to delete those. And now I have half the cube that I just created. And what we're going to do is only model half of Batman. and use a mirror modifier to create the other half. So let's go ahead and apply that modifier. Over here, look for the wrench symbol. There's your modifier. So we're going to add a mirror modifier, and it automatically selects the right axis for us. Let's turn on clipping so that the vertices that are in the middle stay in the middle. We don't accidentally move them and create gaps. So there's our cube right now. All right, press 1 on the number pad to return to my front view. And let's start tweaking these vertices to match up with Batman's torso a little bit better. I'm going to use C. Press C for circle select. Select just this corner here. You can see that I've got the front and the back one selected. Let's move this with G. Line it up with the top of Batman's waist. Press A to let go of those vertices. Use box select here with B. Select this corner. Press G to grab them. Bring them down to where the arm meets the top of the shoulders. Press A to let go of those vertices. Press B for box select. Select these vertices here. Grab those, bring them down to, let's just say where the cape line is right here. Let's position this vertex right here above the bat symbol where his cape kind of meets in the middle there. Let's go to the right view. You can see it's not lined up with our image at all. So let's just press A to select everything. Press G to grab, lock it into the Y, and bring it forwards to line up with our reference image here. And now we're gonna kind of do the same thing with these corners. So press B for box select. I'm gonna select both of these here. Grab Y, and then I'll fine tune those here in a second. Press A to let go of those. Do another B for box select. Bring these in. A to let go. B for box select. G for grab. Y to lock it in. And just repeat. So since I didn't want to mess up what we did here in the front view, you want to make sure that these grabs in this view are locked into the y-axis only, so you don't accidentally change stuff that we did in this view. So we need to add a few more edge loops here to pull for the front of the chest and to match the curve in the back here. So we'll do them one at a time. Control R to add an edge loop, and I'm going to do the bottom one here first. GY to grab in the Y direction. And I'm going to add another edge loop right here. Going to line it up with where it bulges out. Scale this on the y-axis. And then grab to reposition if needed. And then I'm going to add one more right here. But I'm only going to move the back vertices. All right, kind of like where that's the way that's looking right now. Let's select these front vertices here and bring them back just a bit so that the chest is a little bit more rounded instead of being perfectly flat. And we'll do the same for the back ones here. And bring them forwards, not as much as the front, but enough to round out this torso a little bit more. So speaking of rounding, let's add another edge loop this direction. Click and then escape to let go. And then I'm going to select just these vertices and pull them out on the x-axis. So G, X, maybe a little bit more. And let's add one more this direction. And pull these out. forwards, GY, tiniest bit. Maybe we can leave those alone and actually bring these back a little bit more while we bring these right here forwards. All right. Maybe a little bit too small over here on the waist. Maybe it's just too pointy. Let's grab these two vertices, grab X, bring them in a slight bit. All right, let's work on the lower part of his torso, going into his crotch area. Let's switch to face select mode to make this go a little bit quicker. And I accidentally selected a face I didn't want. I can just hold down Shift and right click and it'll deselect for me. Okay, so in the front view, I'm going to press E to extrude this down, about right there. Extrude one more time. And this one we're actually going to rotate to kind of match the angle that we see as the bottom of his briefs making. And we're going to grab this on a Z-axis, bring it down some. And I think that looks great. I guess we'll call it a video right here. We just completed his torso. Let's do his legs in the next video. So I'll see you then.